Welcome to what I realistically eat in a week as a vegan of 10 years, very kindly sponsored by my friends at Squarespace. So we're of course starting this what I eat in a week on a Monday morning, and there's something about a Monday which I'm sure that a lot of you may be able to relate to, but when I wake up fresh on a Monday morning, I'm like, let's make my favorite breakfast, let's have a great start to the week, and that's exactly what today was. It was some sourdough with some avo, macadamia feta, tomatoes, pickled onions, and fresh herbs, and then I also made myself a protein iced cacao on soy milk, and it was a delightful start to the day. Hello my beautiful friends, and welcome back to another video. I hope you've been doing really well. I'm super excited to be bringing you what I eat in a week this week. It feels like it's been like a month, maybe even longer, since I last filmed a what I eat in a week. And yeah, I'm stoked to bring you along for this week. I've honestly been eating mostly quick and simple meals recently, as I've been working on a couple of other projects that are like very recipe creation heavy. And so then when it gets to the end of the day or to lunchtime, I really just mostly feel like making something really easy. So hopefully if you're someone like me at the moment who really wants to be making meals in under half an hour, this will be a good week of eats for you to check out. Anyway, it is lunchtime and I am in the kitchen, so let's get into making some lunch. I've been loving these Strange Love sodas lately, and so I had one whilst I was making my lunch, and I've also been loving this satay tofu, which you can get from Woolies. Like I said, I've been really leaning into quick and easy meals lately, and this just makes things so much quicker and easier. I just fry up some of this satay tofu with some broccolini in a little bit of oil and salt and maybe some garlic powder or soy sauce. Honestly, I feel like it's one of those things that is my go-to kind of meal when I have no idea what I want to be eating. Today I just drizzled it with a little bit of soy sauce and served it with some rice, and it was a lovely quick lunch. And then in the afternoon I had myself a fresh mango to snack on. Mango is really coming in season here in Australia, and they're so delicious and sweet at the moment. And then in the evening when it came to dinner, I started in a frying pan adding some oil, some onions, some chickpeas, as well as some sun-dried tomatoes, and I fried that up for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then I had some pasta and some green peas that were on the boil, and I transferred this into the pan with some pasta water as well as some store-bought pesto, and I continued mixing this together, and then I very simply served this up into a bowl, and that was my very quick and simple dinner. On Tuesday morning I started my day with a smoothie, and this one had ice cubes as well as frozen bananas. Then I also added in some protein powder. This is my favorite protein powder. I don't know if I've mentioned that's my favorite brand before, but it is. I also added in some cacao powder and some plant-based milk as well as some peanut butter, and I blended this all together. This is my classic go-to delicious smoothie. I'm on day 1 of my period today, and typically on the first day of my period I don't leave the house, let alone the couch, because my cramps are typically quite bad, and to be honest today they are significantly not good. However, I simply needed a sweet treat today, so I took myself to the shop to get some Loco Loves. I did get some for my boyfriend as well though. So I'm gonna have myself a little sweet treat, a maple macadamia caramel Loco Love, before I even think about what I'm gonna make for lunch. So I ended up filming a reel for my Instagram this day of this tofu sandwich. So because I was filming this reel, I ended up also eating this for lunch this day. And then when it came to the evening, I was once again feeling something super simple, so I used some more of that satay tofu as well as some other veg that we had on hand. I had some broccolini as well as some pak choy and some red capsicum. Then I also added in some sesame oil, rice wine vinegar and soy sauce to fry this all up in, and then I very simply served it for dinner for us both with some white rice. Again, super simple, throw together 20-minute dinner. I was feeling some me time as well as an acai bowl for breakfast on Wednesday, and I went to my favorite spot to get one. This was loaded with peanut butter and some choc granola, and every time I see this acai bowl I want one. So maybe after I've finished recording this voiceover I'll go and get myself one for breakfast. Anyway, when it came to lunch, I had some leftover bits from the sandwich that I filmed in the reel yesterday, so I decided to make something similar for lunch today. It was a toasted roll with some of this sun-dried tomato hazelnut spread. I had some tempeh as well as some tomato, rocket, and some pickled onions, and honestly this is my favorite sandwich right now. It's super good and it was very delicious on this day as well. A big thank you to my friends at Squarespace for very kindly sponsoring this video. If you are ever thinking about hosting or designing your own website, I cannot recommend Squarespace enough. It's the platform I've been using for over 5 years now and I absolutely love it for many reasons, but one of the ones that really stands out to me is the fact that designing the website is made super easy with Squarespace's design intelligence. I like to think I'm relatively tech savvy, but something I have struggled with is designing a website, and what I love about Squarespace is the fact there are so many themes and templates to choose from that you can easily adapt to make look your own. As well as that, it's a great space to be able to sell products and services, share blog posts, as well as have a portfolio of all of your work. And if you're ever looking to host or design your own website, I cannot recommend Squarespace enough. You can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/AmandaDux, and you can use my code, which is AmandaDux. It will get you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. When I went to do my weekly grocery shop, I found some of these pistachio and custard balls by Health Lab. Decided to get one and tried one, and it was really, really good. And then this afternoon, I also decided to do myself a favor and prep myself breakfast for tomorrow. I made myself a protein chia pudding, and so I just mixed this all together and I put it into a glass jar and then put that glass jar into the fridge to set. When it came to dinner, I was back with the tempeh. I cut the tempeh up into little bits, fried it all up, and added in some soy sauce as well as liquid smoke to make these smoky, salty little tempeh bites. And then into the pan, I added in some onion as well as some plant-based cream, some nutritional yeast as well as some veggie stock powder and some garlic powder. And I mixed this together. This is like a really, really quick and easy creamy pasta sauce. I then added in some cooked gnocchi with green peas as well as some spinach. Mix this together and then transferred this into a bowl, topping it with those bits of tempeh, and that was another very simple dinner. For breakfast, I had this chia pudding that I had prepped the day before, and I topped it with some blackberries, which are like my favorite berry at the moment, and this was a really delicious and nourishing start to the day. I've been really enjoying chia pudding lately. And then when it came to lunch, I had seen that I had some pastry in the freezer earlier in the week, and all week I'd been thinking, you know what, I need to make some homemade sausage rolls, and so I had a little bit of extra time on my hands today and decided to do so. I put a whole bunch of random ingredients in here, including some of that sun-dried tomato hazelnut spread that I had and some lentils as my source of plant-based protein. I then added this onto some puff pastry, rolled it up, and it made a couple of sausage rolls so that my boyfriend and I could both enjoy one. I also made a little side salad to go with this and had it with some sauce, and it was a very delicious lunch, and I'm sad to say I forgot to film my dinner this night. On Friday morning, I started my day with another smoothie. This one was ice cubes, frozen banana, frozen raspberries, some soy milk, as well as some water. Then I also added in some soy yogurt, as well as some protein powder, some cacao powder, and some peanut butter. This was a loaded smoothie today. I blended that all together and I got this nice creamy choc raspberry smoothie. Then I was off to Brisbane for the day for work and then to hang out with my friends for the evening. So I popped into my favorite vegan spot and I got myself a spinach and tofu pastry as well as a caramel slice to enjoy throughout the day. On Friday evening, we went out for my friend Bray's birthday and we were at a bar that had some vegan dumplings and some sweet potato fries. So that's what I had for dinner, and we also had a few drinks. I had a couple of ciders, and then we went to karaoke, which was a really fun night. Needless to say, the next morning I was definitely feeling tired, so by the time I got home, I decided it was a good idea to make myself my comfort breakfast. I made myself an iced cacao, and then I also had some homemade baked beans on toast with some macadamia feta, which was absolutely delicious. When it came to lunch, I made, again, one of these simple rice bowls that I've been really enjoying. I had some tempeh today, as well as some broccoli, and then I put this into a frying pan and fried it up. I served this with some rice in a bowl, as well as with some cucumber, and then I drizzled with a homemade peanut sauce, which if you've watched many of my videos, you'll know how much I love this peanut sauce. When it came to dinner, I was having a solo night in and I decided to make some mini pizzas. I ended up making a few extra for leftovers and for my boyfriend for when he got home. On them, I put some pizza sauce, some vegan cheese, as well as some tomato, some shredded barbecue tofu, some roasted red onion, and some roasted broccolini, and then I put these into the oven to crisp up, and they were honestly so good. I really enjoyed having these, and I ended up having one of these grape sodas that I've been really enjoying as well, and having a night in watching Below Deck and enjoying these pizzas, which you know is like my ideal Saturday night in, especially when I'm tired. Sunday. It is such a gloomy, rainy, overcast day today, and honestly, I'm absolutely loving it. I've been so overdue for a day at home to like get on top of a bunch of things that I've needed to do, like cleaning my car, for example. I've been well overdue for a day like this where I can just spend the day at home, get on top of things, watch a few episodes of Below Deck, and of course, I'm gonna eat some good food. Lunch today is literally just leftovers from last night because I had so much of the shredded tofu and the broccolini that I figured why not make some extras for me to be able to enjoy, or for my boyfriend to be able to enjoy if he wanted them. So I'm having a couple of these that I've reheated. I honestly burnt them a little bit and I topped them with some pickled onions. And then I'm also gonna have myself a lovely kombucha. This is actually my favorite kombucha, the Remedy small batch. I find to be the best kombucha, and they recently released this new flavor, pomegranate and cherry. And it is really good. If only I could get it open. So cheers and happy Sunday, and I will see you when it's time for dinner. Good evening. I am freshly home from a Sunday evening reformer class, which there's something about working out on a Sunday evening that feels like working out on a Monday morning, but better, if that makes sense. Anyway, my boyfriend is working today. He's going to be home soon, and I am going to make us a noodle soup to finish the week, which, as you may know by now, if you've been around my channel for a while, we love a noodle soup. We eat this usually multiple times every week, and we love to cook it for each other when either of us have had a long day. So I'm going to make just like my classic creamy miso broth noodle soup with some tofu and some broccoli today. Maybe some pak choy as well. Gonna keep it pretty simple. But yeah, let's get into it. Noodle soup tonight was some noodles, followed by my classic miso creamy broth. Then I topped this with just some fried tofu, as well as some broccoli. And this is pretty much like the basic simple soup that I make when we have minimal ingredients, but I still want to have this for dinner. It was a lovely way to end the week, and a big thank you for being here, hanging out with me this week and seeing what I realistically eat in a week. I'll see you soon in another video.